watching us here on Kababayan LA. We've talked about this before, and I think we've decided this also on the show. Organic doesn't always mean better, but the debate is still alive once again because of the current egg situation that we have right now. If you don't know the details yet, let's watch this.
We're in the egg section of an organic grocery store, and when people see that organic label on a carton of eggs, they may assume they're buying a safer egg. But are they?
Thank you.
Alexis Kofod takes pride in how she raises her chickens and the eggs they produce.
This is a chicken egg that she got to lay her egg, how she felt like after being outside eating grass and bugs.
The Soul Food Farm outside San Francisco is a cage-free pastured chicken farm that sells to some of the Bay Area's finest restaurants.
I can't give them any medicine or antibiotics or anything.
We visited last spring, and her business was thriving. Animal rights advocates applaud these kind of cage-free farms and condemn those that are not.
Every one of the 500 million eggs recalled came from hens confined in tiny cages so small they can barely move an inch their entire lives. Caging hens is not just cruel, but the science clearly shows that it's a public health menace for consumers.
The organic industry is on fire. Last year, it grew by more than 5%. But when it comes to organic or just cage-free farms, does it truly mean safer? Well, experts we talked to say just because it says organic doesn't always guarantee you're buying a salmonella-free egg.
If you have chickens outside in a backyard or on a pasture, you have risk there that they're going to come across wildlife and feces and potentially be infected.
Michele J. Russell is a food safety specialist at the University of California, Davis. She says salmonella doesn't discriminate between large industrial and small cage-free or even organic farms.
There's mixed studies. Some studies show that one is better than the other. Others show no difference. But if you really break them down, what it comes down to is how that owner is operating on his premises.
The USDA recently did a study that found most of the time organic eggs are also no healthier. Dr. Russell says what it comes down to is personal preference. Some people like buying fresh, locally produced products. Others might value the low cost of conventional ones. The bottom line, she says, if you're concerned, try to learn who you're buying from.
It really is a personal decision, and I actually think we're lucky to be able to have these choices and pick between the different options.
Options that Americans will be evaluating more closely.
And all of a sudden, we are talking about eggs because of the egg recall. Bago nyo po kainin yung inyong mga itlog sa inyong mga fridge at yung mga mag-order na mga dishes sa mga restaurants na nangangailangan ng mga eggs, you might want to watch this. This is a special report from CNN.
The CDC has linked hundreds of cases of salmonella poisoning from across the country to eggs produced at these farms near Galt. Now, weeks after the first cases were reported, Wright County Egg has issued a voluntary recall.
The voluntary recall was done at the production level, and the risks historically are fairly low with the transmission of salmonella to the fresh shell eggs.
Iowa State Extension Specialist Strohbehn happened to find one of the recalled cartons in her own refrigerator. She tossed out the eggs and encourages others to check the plant numbers under the expiration date and do the same.
It's probably best to err on the side of caution. Certainly we all understand the cost of food, but on the other hand, experiencing a foodborne illness is costly in its own ways.
The FDA's investigation is ongoing, but according to a press release on its website, Wright County Egg is fully cooperating with the recall. The primary concern right now is getting any contaminated eggs out of the food supply.
Wright County Egg is a part of DeCoster Farms, which has had past environmental and immigration violations. No one was available for comment at the company's office, but an employee there did provide a phone number for the FDA hotline. Strohbehn says there are a couple of possible reasons there wasn't an immediate recall after a spike in salmonella cases in June and July. She says the testing is time-consuming and cases are often underreported.
Sometimes people just think they caught a 24-hour bug and don't necessarily equate it with a foodborne illness.
At kung ngayon nyo lang po naririnig itong mga balitang ito at hindi pa kayo kumbinsido, yes, there is an egg recall. At kung nagtataka naman kayo paano na-contaminate ng salmonella itong mga ibang mga itlog na ito, let's watch this. A lot of them actually depend on the farm conditions. Here's a report from Casey Wyan of CNN.
This undercover video was taken at a Maine egg farm in 2008 and 9 by an investigator for an animal rights group whom we'll call Joseph.
I was hired to help try and repair some of the egg belts, and a lot of them were broken, and there were eggs that had piled up for as much as 5 days on the belts.
His video shows chickens being twirled by the head, then dumped on the floor still twitching and kicked under cages.
The footage that I have shows some of these hens are dead and they're kind of rotting and they're laying there up against the belts. Others, as they're dying, they're basically gasping for breath and drooling on the belts.
Other hens are thrown in trash cans, still alive. Many birds are in obvious distress.
They have no feathers left. They're covered in scratch marks. They're covered in dry blood.
Animal rights groups say there's a link between animal cruelty, unsanitary conditions, and salmonella contamination. But poultry industry experts say no clear link has been established. And what links the New England farm with the Iowa farm at the center of the latest national salmonella outbreak? The chickens involved are owned by the DeCoster family, one of the nation's largest egg suppliers, and witnesses have reported unsanitary conditions at both farms. In June, the Maine farm admitted to 10 counts of animal cruelty and paid a $125,000 state fine as a result of Joseph's undercover investigation. At the time, operations manager Jay DeCoster said in a statement, "This is a matter we take very seriously, and over the past year we have implemented a number of corrective measures that ensure excellent care of our flocks. The mistreatment shown on the video was unacceptable." Bob LeClaire, safety manager at Quality Egg, told CNN, quote, "There is no salmonella here." A DeCoster spokeswoman directed us to this video showing conditions at the farm today. In Iowa, Manuel Larma worked as a truck driver for DeCoster-owned Wright County Egg until last year, hauling away dead chickens.
Did you ever have a chance to go in where the chickens were kept in the cages and things like that? Did you see any of that?
Yeah, I used to be there many times in there, you know.
What did it look like to you?
Whoa, pretty bad. Pretty bad. And without feathers and pretty bad traded. Just very dirty cages.
A spokeswoman for Wright County Egg said in a statement, "Our farm is committed to excellent care of our flocks, and our policy for all farm workers is that any concerns raised about hen treatment must be immediately reported. Mr. Larma never brought any issues to our attention."
I did not see any of those problems.
Iowa State professor Darrell Trample visited Wright County Egg's facility this spring.
I saw operations that appeared to be operating as they should be. For example, there were rodent control traps along the buildings, and every egg operation should have those rodent control measures in place. And everything looked perfectly normal.
Normal in modern egg farms includes some bird deaths and feather loss. Trample says allegations of animal cruelty are not likely related to the current salmonella outbreak, which he suspects is linked to mice and chicken feed.
This could have happened anywhere.
Casey Wyan, CNN, Galt, Iowa.
Paumanhin po sa mga kumakain, sa mga nagmemeryenda, pero you know, after watching the news, you might want to be careful when you're eating eggs, or you might want to stay away from eggs altogether, at least for the next few days until this situation gets under control, of course. At dito man po sa Kababayan LA, magbabalik tayo with more from the show. Don't go away.